Yeah, well, that's a great segue into a movie that definitely has a strong plot twist the first time you watch it, and that is Fight Club from 1999. So I have seen Fight Club definitely at least 8 to 10 times. It was the first Fincher movie I ever watched.
Nice. Nice.
And I have loved it since I saw it. I know people tend to hate on this movie. It has unfortunately become the face for certain types of men that is not a healthy thing to want to try to be like.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Tyler Durden has had that effect on lots of young men. But this movie had the right idea as far as what it was trying to message. But unfortunately, I think it's just been taken wrong by the wrong audience, maybe. I don't know how you would describe what I'm trying to say, but what are your thoughts on Fight Club, Harry? I don't know that we've talked about this movie yet.
I like Fight Club. I want to be careful here because this might receive hate. Fight Club's overrated. Putting it out there. Like it's a 4 out of 5 for me. It's a low 4 out of 5. It's great. Sorry, there's neighbors outside arguing. If you can hear that on the mic, my bad. Uh, they just watch Fight Club and they're arguing.
They're having their own Fight Club.
Yeah, they're having their own Fight Club. Um, it's great. Don't get me wrong, but this idea that it's a fucking masterpiece is, for me, incorrect. It's really good. I think the twist is brilliant. It's one of those movies that, again, like Seven, that you rewatch it has rewatchability, which is for a movie to have a twist that's kind of rare. But like this has a lot of rewatchability. The idea that you want to be like this person is nuts. He lives in a fucking rundown house. Go have some self respect. Yeah, the whole metaphor of basically like it's all about masculinity, of course, whatever. But the like having all about self confidence and stuff like that. I fuck with that. So fair enough. I'm all for that. I think Edward Norton's amazing in this film. Like everyone talks about Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt's just fucking ripped. All right, that's why people want to be him because he's ripped as all hell. I get it, man. We're all been there, whatever. But
We've all been there.
yeah, yeah, we've all been in those fight clubs, But yeah, I think Edward Norton's brilliant in this. It's an awesome fucking script. It's a
Hmm.
great. It's a tight script. The pacing's brilliant. Um, it's just one of those other movies that he makes that kind of I put them in its own sort of subgenre of Fincher films where they're like, as I said, like they're claustrophobic, they're dirty, and they're gross
Hmm.
films, and
Hmm.
like Seven, like Fight Club,
Yeah.
um, like Zodiac. That this is just in that type of echelon. That I do think that it's like a high mid tier film of his. We'll go through the rankings later. Spoilers. But I do like how everything in this movie has a fucking purpose, which is kind of what elevated this from the game for me. That this is much better than the game to me, much better. But the game there was a lot of stuff where it was kind of just the same clue, the same purpose. Whilst everything in here has a different purpose, even down to the fucking soap. I think that's
Hmm.
awesome. So like, the amount of rewatchability of this film is insurmountable. It very much has a place in modern pop culture, which is deservedly so. Like the idea of it is kind of like being done again and again and again now, which I guess like what's the form of flattery? What's it called when you copy someone? The,
Um,
you know what I mean?
yeah, is the best form of flattery. I'm like
Yeah,
blanking on the word,
it's
but I know what you're
whatever
trying to
that
say.
is. It's best for. It's gonna come to. I'm gonna yell it out while you're talking about it.
Hmm.
Um, um, but yeah, so very rightfully so. This movie is great. I just think that it's incredibly overhyped now. So if anyone's not hasn't seen Fight Club yet, don't go in expecting a masterpiece. You might think
Yeah.
it's a masterpiece. Well done. I hope it is for you. But for me, it's just overhyped. It's like
Yeah.
it's really fucking good. It's a 4 out of 5, but it's not even in for me. It's not even in his top three films. Spoilers.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to say where I have it ranked yet, but I love this movie. I do rate it much higher than you. But I also, it was my first film of his that I saw. And I will say, when I was like a young teenager, when I watched this, I was probably like 18, 19. And it was one of the first like films that I saw. Like when I say that, I mean like not just like some movie I grew up with or some like younger, teenager movie. Like this was one of the first like movies that I saw. It was like this one and Pulp Fiction were one of the
Yeah.
first two movies I really like fell in love with film. And so I think for me, I have a little bit of an attachment to it. But
Plagiarism.
on
Sorry.
rewatch, what is it?
Plagiarism. Plagiarism.
Plagiarism is the
Plagiarism is the.
best form of flattery.
Yeah. There you go. Sorry. Continue. Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
So
guts.
yeah, I definitely think I like it more than you, but I understand all the points you're making. I think this is kind of one of those ones like American Psycho. Unfortunately, it's been picked up by, I would call it the wrong audience, and I might get hate for saying all of this. I don't honestly really mind too much because it's just my opinion, but I do think they've been received poorly by the wrong type of person, and that has kind of made both those movies kind of like misunderstood. Like this one is speaking so much to toxic masculinity, and it
Yeah.
does it in a good way in a lot of the part of the movie. But I think people have kind of taken it and have the wrong impression of what this character is supposed to represent. And unfortunately, it's made it to where the fans of this movie, I feel like, have made it become very overrated
Yeah.
because of the way people speak about it and overhype it so much and make it seem like Tyler Durden is like a god character, when that's really not what you're supposed to leave the movie feeling like.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I am a little bit bummed that as a society we can't like take it the way that it was meant to be, but I enjoy it for what it is. I really love all the performances, especially Edward Norton is obviously fantastic. Helena Bonham Carter is amazing
She
as
dominates
always.
this movie. She dominates.
Yeah,
I adore her in
her
this film.
whole aesthetic and look just fits this gritty movie so much. And I love a movie where you have to ask yourself so many times, like, what's real, what's not real. Like, I love anything that kind of makes me question, like, what's reality, what's actually happening, what's the character's perception, what's my perception. I love that kind of thing in a film. So for me, this is definitely up there. But that's not saying much because I love a lot of his films, obviously. But this one, I think I like more than most people. I'd probably be one of those people who would say that it's not overrated, technically, like
Cool.
based on the rating of it. But I understand why you feel that way.
Yeah,
So,
I still like, I feel like I'm shitting on the film. I gave it 4 out of 5. I think it's
no,
great.
you're
Yeah,
not. You're really not.
yeah, yeah, but I think it's great. Yeah, my main problem with it is that people describe it as a modern masterpiece, and like if you think that,
I get it.
fuck yeah, I'm so glad you do. But yeah, just for me, it's not. To touch on a point that you brought up, the idea of paranoia in this film is awesome. It was like when you find out that he's not real and he's like a figment of his
Hmm.
subconscious. Then you go back and you're being more paranoid of like what the fuck has he been doing then? Like everything has just
Yeah.
been like accumulating, which is awesome. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Definitely. Yeah, no, I definitely hear what you're saying, and I can understand all the points you're making, and I don't think that this is going to be a masterpiece for everyone. I think, like I said, I just have a specific connection to it, especially because it was one of the earlier, like, really just like real movie. Like I'm saying like a real movie, like I'd never seen real movies before. I
I know what you
had
mean
before I
though.
was obviously,
I know exactly what you
but
mean. Yeah,
yeah. So I have that attachment to it. And obviously a big fan of Brad Pitt, so that helps as well.
oh yeah,
And of course, the abs help, of course.
yeah, all 8 of them. I
All
counted
eight
them.
of them.
I got them up on my screen right now. One,
Lucky
two.
you. Um,